media
The following
station.
program is paid for by the Charlie Butler team.
Good Sunday morning, Tri-State. This is the Charlie Butler Real Estate Show, and I have quite a cast of characters here this morning. The normal character from our Kentucky representative from Churchill Mortgage, David Crow. And good morning, David.
Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, everyone.
And Mindy Woodward is in for Candace. Good morning, Mindy.
Good morning. Good morning, Tri-State. Hope everyone's having a great Sunday.
We've also got from Catanese Realty, Teresa Catanese. And Teresa also happens to be one of my favorite people. I'll
make that check out to you later for saying that.
All right. Is that good? Well, that's one feels as good as the other check you had to write there. And we won't talk about that on there. We won't talk about that. That's an inside joke. Sorry, folks. But good morning, Teresa.
Good morning.
And on my right is Ireland Martin.
Hello.
Good morning, Ireland. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
Great. David, so as always, we start out. How's the mortgage market looking right now?
Mortgage market's looking steady. It's probably the best word I can use for it. It's steady. Progressively, we've been on a downward trend when it comes to interest rates nationwide. Of recent, we are steady because we know that we're probably looking at a additional cut in the month of November and potentially one in December. So rates are good comparatively to where we've been for the last couple of years. Rates are, great for really if we look in the rearview mirror.
They're in the fives, correct?
Yes, Charlie, we're looking at rates in the fives, and the reason for that, and I was going to hesitate there. There are some lenders, because when people are calling me, I'm proposing in the fives. Their previous quote was in the sevens.
Sure.
And so I just not all loans and mortgage companies are made equally, I should say.
Well, I've noticed, and several of our agents, of course, use you, and you have been extremely competitive with.
I like to think so. I just had a gentleman this past week, and he chose me. And again, that's not the exact same example, but it was just a better offering in terms of total cost to close and then the actual interest rate monthly payments. So once I speak with someone and I have the opportunity to share with them what I can do compared to what they've heard, and I match rates in the event somebody does have a competitive rate, we have the ability to match and actually go under it. I don't have somebody say, thanks, David, but you're a lot higher. I'm not going to use you. So the sad thing is I can't speak to everyone that's looking to buy a home. And sadly, some people get redirected to someone else. Oh, I had a nice closing this past week. And it was one of our local lenders that drug this thing out for over 2 months, and they finally called me, and within 3 weeks, we were closed. Obviously, no names mentioned, but yes. And so it was nice. The title company already had the title work and everything done for somebody else, but they were unable to close, and ultimately I did. So, folks, I'm here to help you. That's all I can say.
We have, and I can say in full that we have sent people to David that, in fact, we required another agent once to we gave her two choices of two good lenders. She picked David, and that had been going on for months. And David, which at that price range, you couldn't help him, but you did help him.
Yeah, I let everybody know that they needed to cancel the contract and the buyers need to look at a lower priced home. They were good buyers. They were not pre-qualified for the price point that they had gone under contract months prior with a builder. So, yeah, I did help everybody.
And David.
Go ahead.
So I have buyers whenever they bring a terrible lender that I know that is not going to get closed, and I'll say, hey, why don't you try this person or this person? And their response is, well, that's going to ding my credit. Can you explain that?
So there's two avenues to that as answers. And actually just 2 days ago, worked a very similar situation, and it was a realtor in Henderson. And so you have about a 3-week window for everyone to shop lenders, okay? And it technically won't ding your credit. So that's the first thing. Now, as we all know, in the market we're operating in, people are taking weeks upon months before they maybe even find the home that works for them. At Churchill Mortgage, I have the ability to do a soft pull, okay, which is extremely advantageous because it does not show up as an inquiry, doesn't ding anybody's credit. The ding you're referring to is when a mortgage company does, and we have to, do a hard pull on a credit. It can lower somebody's credit score 3, 4, 5 points, depending on the other activity they have going on. So in that 3-week window, multiple mortgage companies can pull credit for that person, and it has no effect whatsoever after the first mortgage company. And I keep saying mortgage, folks. I'm not talking about finance. I'm not talking about auto dealers. That's a totally different world. But mortgage companies have the ability for about a 3-week window. Hypothetically, you could go to 20 different mortgage companies, all 20 pull, and it doesn't impact your score. Now, I have the ability to do a soft pull, and I know a lot of our competitors locally, they can't do a soft pull. They have to do a hard. I love doing a soft pull, especially if somebody thinks their credit is challenged, they're marginal. It allows me to see the score without an inquiry. And if they need to do some things to improve their credit score, to get them up so that they get a better interest rate or simply pre-qualify, I have never, quote unquote, did that initial ding, knowing it may take 30, 60 days and then have to do another pull on credit for them to improve their credit scores. So, yes, that's been the push with a lot of folks in the past, that the buyers are uneducated, but I can say with certainty you've got a 3-week window there where it does not hurt them at all.
So, David, all lenders talk about this. How does this rapid rescore thing work?
Great question, and I've got about 4 things that went through my head when you said that, because it depends on the buyer's profile and what things are challenged. In layman's terms, if I look at a credit report and I see, we call them trade lines. It's if you got a credit card, you have a car payment, a mortgage payment. Those are trade lines. It's a debt you're making a monthly payment on.
And David, just to stop you real quick, those car loans, furniture, things like that. Once you're under contract for a house, don't do any of those.
Do it.
I tell everybody, you do not allow somebody to pull credit. You do not. There is no such thing as 90 days, same as cash. Whatever you're in the home buying process.
They're selling that. They're selling that off to a lender who's pulling your credit.
Exactly. So once you are looking to buy a home, you don't run out and buy furniture, cars, and things like that and have your credit pulled. But going back to a rapid rescore, basically, I give the person advice on either how to pay off a collection, how to open up conversations sometimes, so we can get that resolved. It may be paying down their credit card to get it down closer to a 30% usage versus 90% usage. So many people think they're doing a good thing when they open up a $500 credit card and they use it, but they're keeping a balance of $498 on a $500. It's negatively impacting your credit score. So I give them advice on things to do. Those things can take a week, 3 weeks. It may take 6 months on things. Once they've done it, and rapid is normally in a short process, I then solicit the credit bureaus, make them aware of it, and I make them make those changes on a credit report, which allows me to re-pull a credit report with a much higher credit score. So it starts with them talking with me giving them the guidance, and then ultimately getting a new credit report, which illustrates a much higher credit score than it was hypothetically just a few weeks ago. And that allows somebody to go from not being able to be pre-qualified to being pre-qualified or pre-approved.
So, Mindy, you deal a lot in the foreclosure market.
Yes, I do.
But we'd prefer people not get foreclosed on.
Well, no, obviously not.
That would be the preference, yes.
So they can call you, and how can you help them if they're starting to face some difficulties?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. First of all, and I say this a lot on the radio, make a phone call and talk to somebody. In the grand scheme of it, the bank does not want your house back. It's way too expensive for them.
It's a liability on their books.
Absolutely. On average, it's about $50,000 a month in carrying costs that they have to pay out. So they don't want it. If they need to reduce your payment, take what you owe, like if you're behind, and put it on the back end of the loan, change the interest rate, do whatever they can. There's all these different options. Worst case scenario, they will do what's called a deed in lieu of. So you just sign the deed to them, and they don't take you to court. They don't take you through the foreclosure process. But that's usually the very, very, very last step in that. So if you're having trouble, or, maybe you're going to try to sell it for less than what you owe, I can help you with that. That's called a short sale. So I'd be more than willing to walk you through that process.
And many times, and the other thing, I know you said to make calls, but specifically when the lender starts sending you mail or calling you or
they're going to call you. They're going to send you a letter like, hey, is everything okay? You missed your payment. Do we need to do something about that? Just answer them.
Call them back. Yeah.
Call them back.
Yeah, that's the lenders, as Mindy will tell you, will usually work with you if you're open with them.
Absolutely,
tell them what's
yes.
going on. What they don't like is to be ignored.
Yes, and then 3 months, 4 months, 6 months down the line, they're like, too late.
Didn't you have one the other day that not too long ago that they called you and they were like a week or less from sheriff's sale?
It was the next day.
The next.
It was the next day,
and it's too late then.
And then after I was explaining to the lady, I'm sorry, we can't help you. Then she was like, well, can't one of your lenders lend me money? I'm like, not before 10 a.m. tomorrow. Well, can't Charlie buy my house? Well, it doesn't work like that. There's a whole process that we have in place. If you give us, I said, look, if this was 30, 60 days ago, absolutely. We would be more than willing to help you. We could come up with a plan. We have a, network of people. But it is 4:30 and your house is going to sheriff's sale at 10 o'clock tomorrow. I have no window. There's nothing I can do for you.
Exactly. And David, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but I'm going to. So people like Mindy talk about that once they get behind a little bit, and now if it's on other things, you've got to worry. Let me back that up a little bit. So if they get behind on some other things, or they've got you can work out a plan for them when they want to buy a house, right?
Oh, absolutely. And now there's two things there that I just want to echo as a lender. What Mindy said is 100% accurate. If you've hit hard times, you've lost your job temporarily, you've had a medical occurrence, something happened, and you're missing mortgage payments and stuff, the lender is going to immediately reach out to you. Answer the phone. Lenders will work with you. I won't go into the specifics, but they will work with you. They'll give some deference. They know things happen.
They don't want the house back.
They don't want the home back. Exactly. So they will work with you. So that's the first thing. If you're listening and you're in trouble, don't ignore those letters in the mailbox. Don't ignore the phone calls. Have a conversation. And then, Charlie, going back to what you said, life happens to a lot of people, and that's actually, honestly, I had an email from a young lady early this morning. God love her. She's doing a lot of things, but she has some hiccups. Her credit score is 508. She's not buying a home right now. However, I gave her a plan, and I loved her email. Thank you so much. I now know what I need to work on. David Crow, make no mistake, in 6 months, you're going to hear from me. That's a 6-month plan.
That's
so this
great.
young lady now has a plan. So the answer is yes. No one is down and out forever. Most people just don't know what they need to do to get in a position to buy. And this young lady, quite honestly, God love her, she's a truck driver, and she makes really good money. But even with really good money, she's a single mom of 3 children. Life has happened, and with 508 credit score, she's not in a position to buy, but she will be.
And sometimes with truckers, construction workers, things like that travel a lot.
Yep.
They just get behind on their bills because they kind of ignore them.
They just kind of ignore them. And that's this girl, just like she said, it's kind of like Ireland. She was younger at one point, and she didn't make the best choices.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, so sometimes our youth sticks with us for a few years.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people get overwhelmed by by the bills, by it piling up, and they don't know what to do. And I think it just having a plan to what are we going to pay off first? How are we going to do that? That is such a relief for them.
And Teresa, you probably have run into this too. Some people, it's really not that bad.
Right.
I go back. I always go back to one that I was selling a home on. Dave Clark, we know Dave. Dave was selling some homes on contract. He had them listed with me, and the girl had the down payment and all this. And she says to Dave, she says, I had a 30-day late 5 years ago. She said, how much longer will that follow me around? And Dave, obviously, Dave also owns a mortgage company, and he got the girl a loan. He didn't have sold on contract. He got the girl a loan. But David, I'm sure you run into the same thing. Teresa, I know.
I have
people have they get 1 30-day behind. They think they're screwed forever.
Well, I had a couple that they made very good money, but they had a bankruptcy 15 years ago and thought they could never buy a home. Never. So all this time they had been renting, and their son-in-law talked them into just talking to me. We got them financed, and we've got them. I mean, they had great credit. But they just didn't know. And you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. They don't do this. I mean, we take for granted people know everything that we know, like they do it all the time. They do it once or twice, sometimes in their whole life. So, we sometimes take for granted. And so far today, we have taken our sponsors for granted. So that is Charlie Butler Real Estate Shows, brought to you by Churchill Mortgage and David Crow, their regional director. Churchill, as we said, not the Larry King Show. Larry has not returned from the dead, okay? For those of you who listened last week, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, and Dave has endorsed Churchill Mortgage for over 25 years. And but there's an 800 number there, but if you want local service, call David directly instead of the 800 number. And David, how can they get a hold of you?
Folks, you can you can look online and you'll see Churchill Mortgage. If you put in Indiana or Kentucky, you'll see my office. It's actually based in Owensboro, Kentucky, servicing all of Kentucky and all of Indiana. But the easiest way, and it's on the website, text or call 270-222-0676. Be happy to help you.
David can help you in Indiana, Kentucky, and Florida.
And Florida.
Yeah.
I've actually got a deal going in Florida right. Well, let's hope the home's still there.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. So, yes, absolutely. And also the good folks at Bossy Title, they've been a long-time sponsor. So for all your real estate, once we get the searches done, that's where we go to get them done. Get the see if you got any judgments on the house, so you can buy the house with confidence. And you can reach Bossy at area code 812. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's Jeff's cell phone. He probably wouldn't appreciate that.
No, probably not. Don't give that one out, Charlie.
812-421-4000. 812-421-4000. Great folks at Bossy Title. Teresa, you and I were talking off the air about the buyer's agency agreement. And there's been a lot from the Sitzer-Martin lawsuit, Sitzer-Burnett, lawsuit. Buyer's agency agreements are now required, as of a few months ago. I can't remember.
July 1st.
July 1st, thank you.
In the state of Indiana.
Yeah. And then August 17th, I don't forget that one because that's my birthday also.
Oh.
Yeah. And, but anyway, I know you have some thoughts on this that I wanted to get on the air. So you want to talk a little bit about buyer's agency agreements and your thoughts on it?
Well, we've had a lot of people that have been buyers, anyway, that have been real hesitant on signing anything with a realtor. They think the best thing is to go directly to the listing agent. So if they see a sign in the yard, they'll call the sign in the yard, which some listing agents think that's amazing because they're going to get double commission. However, I think it's important to, as a buyer, to realize the difference between a buyer's agent and a listing agent, because the listing agent's first priority is to the seller.
Right.
And a buyer's agent's first priority is to the buyer. So if you want good representation, Who are you going to call? You're going to call a buyer's agent.
Right. Because the listing agent, if you go to the listing agent, they are by law they're required to be open with what you've said to their client, which is the seller.
Correct.
And you want your information many times, just like the seller wants their information to be confidential, you want yours to be confidential.
Correct. And I personally don't do dual agency. Some people call it limited agency, whatever. Basically, it's just if my sign is in the yard, I'm representing that seller. A buyer's driving down the street, sees my sign, they call it, and they want me to help them buy this house. I don't do that because I personally feel like it's not fair to the seller if I'm helping the buyer. How can I negotiate on the seller's behalf if I'm negotiating on the buyer's behalf? Some agents do that. I'm not judging. That's just a personal preference of mine and my team. So anyway, back to the buyer's agency agreement. I think it's important to have someone representing you as a buyer and signing this agreement saying, I'm representing you. I'm going to negotiate on your behalf. I am going to help you and you only. That's what a buyer's agency agreement is.
So now, as you said, we've been required to use these since July 1st, but I think you were much earlier to the party on that one.
I was. When I was a new agent, I had some terrible training. And I figured it out on my own. I kind of flew by the seat of my pants. And through the seat of my pants, I found this form that said buyer's agency agreement. And to me, that made common sense. If I'm going to work with a buyer, I would like for them to sign an agreement saying that I could represent them. But also, I think it's real important to educate your buyers and to educate your sellers as an agent. And part of that is having a consultation. So I trained my agents to sit down with the buyers or the sellers and to educate them on the process of a sale, whether it's selling or buying a home. In my opinion, if you're an agent and you're not doing that, you're not doing a service. You're not doing your job. You're just not doing your job. And I tell my buyers and my sellers all the time, if I came to your job, I wouldn't expect to know how to do what you're doing. So I don't expect you to come to my job and figure it out on your own.
No.
So it's my job as an agent to teach them, educate them.
No, I couldn't agree more. And Ireland, has Teresa been training you on that?
Yes.
Lecturing, more like lecturing her on that.
It's real. So what we have is on Monday mornings we have drill meetings.
No, they're not drill meetings. They're
I'm just kidding.
So when Teresa walks in and everyone's going to go, attend, hut,
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, go ahead.
They're just training.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trainings,
Oh, yeah. They're just
trainings.
trainings. Yeah. She's so since I've been a newer agent, actually, that was one of the first things that she taught me was, okay, so now you're an agent. Now you can help somebody buy a house. How are you going to do that? And I was like, you're going to teach me how to tell them what to do, how to educate them. So yeah, we've had several trainings on that since I've been with Catanese Real Estate.
Good. So you've only been doing this 6 months. So what do you think? I think it's around 6 months, right?
Yeah, May. I got officially was licensed May 1st.
So what do you think so far about real estate?
Most days I love it. Every once in a while I call Teresa and I say, why did I do this? Why'd you do this? No.
Oh, I still do that.
Yeah.
Now, Ireland, I'm going to chime in.
It never
You
goes
will
away.
always,
Yeah.
but here's the thing. When you work with the public,
Yeah.
I don't care what the career path is.
Yeah.
When you work directly with the public, let's just say you're going to have good days and challenging days.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's just part of it.
I was in healthcare before I decided to do real estate. So I was in healthcare during COVID.
Yes.
Talk about weird.
Yes.
Weird
can
times.
imagine.
Yeah.
Some of those patients were very polite, nice, and grateful, and others, well, they weren't.
Yeah.
What would you say your biggest challenge has been as a new agent?
My biggest challenge has been, oh, that's a good question. Probably, I've been ghosted more times by people in real estate than ever in my whole life.
Oh, that's never happened to me.
I would say that was probably.
Personally, have ghosted you, Charlie.
Well, okay. I wasn't counting you.
I try to ghost Charlie, but he always finds me.
I find her.
I would say probably right now, just I feel like I've gone to Teresa several times and I've been like, okay, this is what I did. What did I do wrong? And she's like, nothing. You're doing everything you can do. This market is just weird. So hang in there. So that would be, somebody asked me yesterday what my advice would be to somebody that wanted to do real estate or that's new to real estate. And that would be my biggest thing is just hang in there. All the tedious things, all of the things that feel like you're spinning in a circle eventually end up to be worth it in the long run.
You know, the people that put us off before I got in real estate 25 years ago, I sold diamonds. And I worked with a guy named Marvin Bates who died a few years ago, but a funny older guy. And somebody'd say, well, there'd be somebody there that would be like, they'd be showing, and they think they come back and say, I've got to sell those people. They said they'll be right back. And Marvin always said, did you sprinkle be-back dust on them? Because they ain't coming back. But we got 10 jewelry stores. At that time, there were 10 jewelry stores in the mall. So, yeah, they weren't coming back. So, Teresa, in starting a new brokerage, what's been your biggest challenge?
Well, actually, starting the brokerage hasn't been a challenge. It's the building that I'm in that has been a challenge. Bought the old Carpenter house on Carpenter Street, the old WNIN building, and it's 200 years old. So with 200 years, you've got problems, some good problems, some really, really bad problems. So I just feel like, with that building, it's always something. I finished the whole first floor, and then I had a pipe break from the house to the street and had to have all new pipe put in, which that was not fun on my pocketbook.
Fortunately, it's cheap to get a plumber.
Oh, yeah, it's really cheap. I think I could have sold a car for that.
Building.
So, yeah, but it's, I feel like that building is historic, landmark in Evansville, and I love the history of it. So, just like any love affair that you have, you're going to have some issues. Well, this is my issue. So,
since that was the old WNIN building, maybe you can have a fundraiser the way that it used to have for public TV.
I think that's frowned upon. I don't know.
Just an idea.
A GoFundMe. Yeah. Bought an old building. My friend made me a cardboard sign to stand out on the middle of the street. Bought an old building, needs some money.
So, Mindy?
Charlie.
I know we talked that foreclosure market was slower, but I've noticed something with you. It seems like you're getting a lot in Kentucky.
Yes, I am for some reason. It's just a weird wave of that's where it's at right now, I guess. Okay. So
we've got 1 minute left, guys. Has anybody got anything that they just really want to say in the meantime? Everybody's being quiet.
I don't know, but I've been coughing a lot. I think I need to go back on vacation.
Yeah.
So gotta love allergies.
Oh, it's fun.
Ireland worked with COVID. She may have gave it to you. It may still be on.
Me and COVID are BFFs. You better watch out.
Look, some of the houses I go into, if I haven't caught COVID by now, I'm probably not going to.
There is no house. Some of the houses you go into, COVID wouldn't go in there.
No. COVID's like,
No, just.
I know. I think people think real estate is so. I mean, myself at once thought real estate was so glamorous. And I actually saw a video not too long ago that was like, I love real estate. It is so glamorous. And they were literally in like an old abandoned hoarder house just trucking through the trash.
Oh, that's Mindy's day to day.
That's like every day.
At least somebody's watching your video.
I know. Are you following me on my Instagram?
Yeah, I must be.
Quickly, phone numbers.
812-483-1309.
That's Mindy. Teresa
Catanese, 812-454-0989.
David Crow, Churchill Mortgage.
270-222-0676.
Ireland Martin, Catanese Realty.
812-499-2722.
And I am Charlie Butler. I was the star of the show anyway. 812-499-7758. If we can't sell your house, we'll buy it. And for Mindy, Teresa, David, Ireland, Thanks, everybody, for being here. This is Charlie Butler. Have a great Sunday.
This program has been paid for by the Charlie Butler team. From the Kate Foppel Ford Studios, this is Newstalk 1280 WGBF.